What's going on, YouTube? This is Jamil here, and I do sorry if I sound a little bit off, but I probably was in the middle of losing my voice yesterday because there was so much noise, so much yelling. I was doing a lot of yelling, but anyway, this is a report for the regionals in Fort Worth. Now, before I get to anything else, I want to say, I've had absolutely zero experience with this deck. Um, I saw it on a lot on YouTube, but I kept seeing hype. I didn't really see the I remember seeing Overraptor and Miscellaneous Source or whatever. I saw a lot of those two a lot, but I never saw any replays or any of that. Nor was the app ever updated, so I never got the chance to actually play against these things either. So I literally had no idea what these things did. But I knew in the OCG they were in combo with True Kings, just the Fire and the Earth, and that's really all I knew. And I just knew they could make some crazy boards. I had no idea how, but it's whatever. But anyway, Friday, our locals, which is a very competitive locals, we got the structure deck. And my friend, he didn't convince me to get the deck, but, he told me what was in it, which was Quaking, Mirror Force, and Twin Twisters, which I already had a set of Twisters, but Quaking was $20, and I needed it for a multitude of different decks I have, and so I just decided, why not? It's Quaking, it's better than paying $20 for Quaking, so I got 3 structure decks, and then I took a look at all these for the first time, and I'm just well, these things actually look pretty good on paper. Let's test it out. And so I decided to just slap some shit together. I won the locals on Friday, and so I decided, since yesterday or the next day from that point on was the regional for Worth, I was like, since I won, I'm feeling pretty good. Let's give this a shot. I took it right over to the Fort Worth regional, and I topped with it. My very, very first top ever. I mean, because I don't really go around. I don't drive 4 hours to regionals and travel to all these other regional spots, so I'll go to regional / YCSs maybe, 3 times a year, maybe, if that. I tend to just stay local. I don't really travel too much. Traveling gets expensive. I got my own place, I got bills. Can't really afford to just continuously keep doing that, so I topped the event. I was in the top 64 bracket. Unfortunately, if it weren't for round 7, I would be in the top 32. Because it's the very first time I braked game 1 and 2, and it really, really did suck. My opponent might have stacked me, I'm not sure. But I got the worst hands possible both games consistently, and it's very hard to break with this deck, so, I'm just going to leave that in the wind and just say whatever. But anyway, other than that, round 1, I went against Water. No, that was my friend. Round 1, I went against, who did I go against round 1? Jeez. I already forgot who my round 1... Oh, yeah, it was a really, really good Necros Blue Eyes player. Really, really good. Swift 2-0 was the 6th person to finish. I should have lost game 2. He put up Unicorn, Double Chaos Max, and all that mess. And all I did was summon Overraptor in set 3, which was 2 strikes and a Book of Moon. If he would have attacked, I would have lost. But, of course, being he's seeing dinos, and everybody knows the dino structure deck comes with Quaking. That's what he feared, and he didn't attack for about 2 turns, and I ended up busting out the big Tyranno and booked everything down and just dropped him. So far, most of my victories were all Swift 2-0s, except my losses, and except this one opponent, which we went into time. But I went against that Blue Eyes player round 1. I went against, who did I go against round 2? Round 2... Jeez, this is difficult. I'll get back to round 2. Round 3, I went against Infernoid. Round 4, I took on a Zodiac Paleozoic deck. That's one of my 3 losses. He just, I think he won the entire regional, actually. Yeah, that's the one who won the regional, so he went undefeated the entire time, but he just never didn't have 5 set. It's just like, if I burn through 3 of his back, where he just does a zoo, come all over again, draw a few cards, and just set 3 more, and it was just impossible to break him. Round, oh yeah, no, round 2 was freaking against, fucking barrier statues, beat them, because in a deck like this, you just keep your big beaters on board, you don't overlay, you just keep beating them down. Round 5, I took on another Zodiac Paleo deck, and I ended up winning that. That's the one I won off time, because I put out a substantial amount of damage, and we were in turns, and he couldn't really get past the Logia, because I had already used the Earth True King twice and banished his Norden, banished his one Drident, I banished his I forgot what else I banished. I banished a lot of his one-ofs, and then I had cherries and banished his all his toads. And then I had Flying Sea. I had him under Flying Sea, so he really couldn't do much there. Round 6, I freaking lost against fucking Fluffles. Like, it's like, if you don't own D-Barrier, or you don't have like an inherent Macrocosmos or something like Dark Law, or if you don't have Different Dimension Ground, you're just not going to beat that deck. They have way too many fusion spells, way too many ways to out your board. It's like, if you need 3 to 4 negates to beat Fluffles. That's how stupid it is. I mean, he made me go first, which either told me A, he was playing Fluffles, or B, he was playing Water. He was playing Fluffles, of course. He 2-0'd me. And then round 7 was against ABC somehow. I was at table 24. I don't know how he got to table 24 with ABC, but that's the one where I bricked game 1 and 2. Got, like, both hands were really were, like, really identical. Again, he might have stacked me, I'm not sure. Round 8 was against Eidolon Windwitch Artifact, or as some people like to call it, Invoked Windwitch Artifact. 2-0'd him. And round 9 was against a 60-card Blue Eyes deck. Really, really good. Shout out to that guy. It was his first regional, and he got to table 36. Yeah, that's where he played. And I got him game 1, game 2. Game 2 he got me. And games because of his sets, and he had fucking what do you have? I know he had a negate. I forgot what he had, but it was good. No, he had the Unkillable Crystal Wing. Unkillable Crystal Wing. I didn't know he had the Windwitch core, because I beat him too fast game 1. And I ended up citing on my book. Game 3, I cited back in my book, Moon. And of course, he had the Windwitch core, engine in his hand, and I booked down his Ice Bell and stopped him. And then I turned around and put up Bahamut Shark, Tree Toad, Logia, Big Tyranno, and beat him. And so this deck I really, really do love. And I'd say it's damn good, damn consistent. I mean, I made a few changes to it to make it more consistent. At first, I had a full set of Saber Source in there and a Glow Bulb for Nat Beast. But then after OCG, I took him out. I took him out because I didn't. It's not the fact that I was breaking. I just wasn't getting the optimal hands I wanted, and I decided to keep the Megalo Smashers. I mean, it was a big debate between keeping those in or taking this out and keeping Saber Source in for the Earth True King targets. But it's nice to have that little the choice to either go into Evil Zars, Logia or Dolka, or go into Tree Toad. And so I decided to keep these in, not only because I have that option, but because it can also be a Cherries target for my side deck against Paleos, which I sided in against them every single time. Any deck with Tree Toad, I will side Cherries in, and it works out for the best. So all in all, this deck is really, really not it can be explosive. It depends on how you build the deck. If you build it sun-based, no. If you build it very, very aggro-like, you can do some serious damage. So let's get to the profile real quick. I got 3 of the little baby pterodactyls and 3 baby cerasauruses. Pterodactyl it's good, but since I don't really use any of the bigger dinosaurs, the level 4 and higher aspect of it really doesn't matter. I just use it to special out either Oviraptor or special out one of these if I want to engrave, or if I'm just trying to set up to put 2 of these on the board turn 1 in case I don't have the Rescue Rabbit. So there's that. Baby Ceratosaurus is probably the best card in the deck because you can summon any of these other dinos that's not the big Tyranno for free, and it can attack. So there's that. Tyranno Infinity, I only played 1. I only needed 1. Whenever you need it, it's there. Especially if you have Miscellaneousaurus. I won quite a few games with it. Just so the damage, just to put up enough damage to where things like Chaos Max and all that, you just can't really get over it. And it's really good to have something like Tyranno Infinity when you have that field spell, Lost World, or if you have Miscellaneousaurus in hand to actually give it enough protection to where you can confidently bust out Infinity and not have to worry about it getting responded to by, like, once you get past the whole summon negating thing, like with warding or something, or if, Miscellaneousaurus doesn't get striked, Infinity is basically, guaranteed to get damage in. Oviraptor, I gotta say it's like the second best card in the deck because it gets your stuff started. It's not necessarily your engine starter. That's Baby Ceratosaurus, but Oviraptor is like the key card to getting multiple dinos on board, because you can either search Baby Ceratosaurus for the True Kings, or you search Miscellaneousaurus to make yourself unaffected, or what I've done a few times is I would actually dump one of the dinos. Dumping a few of them to the graveyard, and if I have True Kings and I have the little babies, I'll end up blowing them up, summoning another baby using Oviraptor to blow up the special one of the level 4s. Half the time I'm dumping Megalo Smasher to the grave, and then one of the babies will go off and summoning another one. I can make Tree Toad that way. But oftentimes I'm searching. It's a good card. You can use both effects, but they're both hard once per turn, so you gotta keep that in mind. Miscellaneousaurus is he's decent. He's real decent. I come upon situations where I rarely have to use this hand trap effect. But half the time, I want to send him to the graveyard. Half the time, I'll just discard him for no reason, just to put himself in the grave so I can use the second effect, which is to banish himself and any number of other dinos from the grave to summon a dinosaur from the deck with an equal level of the amount of dinosaurs you banished. And half the time, I'll end up banishing him and one other, just summon one of these 2 babies, so I can continue to extend my plays. Or I'll just dump him to the grave for no reason, just so I can have 2 to summon the big Tyranno. He is just the go-to card. He OTKs. Now, halfway through the tournament, I didn't know that his effect to blow up, to book everything down, I didn't know that was a quick effect. If I would have known that was a quick effect, I would have been so much better off. But half the time I would search him and keep him in my hand kind of thing, and then just wait until my opponent puts up a board before I summon him. But again, that's before I knew that his effect was a quick effect. So it was incredibly good. The Fire True King, because Miscellaneousaurus is fire, and I still have my Fencing Firefarer tech And I swear, my friend and a few other people just kept giving me hell, kept giving me grief for not playing the Fire Kaiju instead, for not playing Dogoran. But Fire Ferret is just he has literally saved my ass in a few of these matches to where I need to summon against the both against the Zoo Paleo that I won against and the barrier statue guy. If it weren't for him, like I wouldn't have won because not only is he summonable and he's got a considerable amount of attack to where I can beat over things like that Fossil Diner or beat over their stuff, but like there are times where if this was a kaiju and I gave it to them just to out something, I wouldn't be able to really get past the kaiju because this isn't Zoo. This deck isn't Zoo. This deck isn't like my Fire Cosmo OTK deck to where I can just use any monster effect and just get rid of the kaiju anytime I want. No, this deck is more of like a beatdown kind of deck. So that's the other thing people have to consider before just maining the Fire Kaiju, is if you give it to your opponent, there's a very good chance you're not gonna get it off the board, and the only way to do that really is to overlay. And if you're staring down 2 back row, it's probably not gonna work. And so Fire Ferret's his effect really does all the work for me. So if I do get hit by Mirror Force, which I've gotten hit by, or if I got stopped, they still have to kill this, and if they kill it, their monster is destroyed anyway, and it just does work for me. This card still removes the monster. And on top of that, I can nuke it with the Fire True King, and again, based on how the True King is worded, everything happens at the same time. So this does not miss timing, and it really just aids in just removal. Like, if this is the only fire in my hand, I can still get a monster off the field. If there's this in miscellaneous source, I remove 2 monsters. I banish one, no target, and I blow up another monster. So I honestly, guys, would not take out Fire Ferret. It's a really, really spicy tech. There's Max C, because it's still an auto-win card. And I've literally won. I wouldn't, if it weren't for me drawing Maxi against the Infernoid guy, game 1 and game 3, I wouldn't have beat him. Well, I would have beat him game 1, but game 3, no, he would have had me. 3 Falsa Dig because it's stupid. I mean, if this deck ever just just hits the top deck, I swear this card will be the first to get hit. 2 Lost World, honestly. If it weren't for Lost World, I wouldn't have been able to beat Infernoid. I wouldn't have been able to beat Paleos, because they just have so much trouble just getting around the token that's on their board. So they can't target my stuff with all their Paleos, and it's just so good. It is so good. I will purposely swing into the tokens so I can just blow up the Ceratosaurus and little Pterodactyls in my deck. The attack decrease actually made a huge difference against Paleos. Their Toads going down to 1700, with Megalo Smasher and every other level 4 being strong enough to outrun it. Same thing with the Nordens and all that, because a lot of the times it's left on the board because Fusion Substitute. Even the Indolens, or Invokes, I've had a much easier time with them because of this card. Like, Lost World is just entirely too good. I wish there was a way for me to have space to combo, to have a couple of copies of Ojama Trio and a couple of copies of this, because Ojama Trio plus this would just be good game. But it's situational. You need 2 cards to pull it off. But if you can have multiple tokens on board, and you can resolve this trap card, you can summon that many dinos from your deck. And you can just have and they're all special summons. You can attack with them, and you can, but they're destroyed during the end phase. Remember, that's key, but you're probably going to overlay with them anyway. And it's got a Diamond Direwolf effect when it's in the graveyard. I've hardly had to resolve its grave effect. I did that once, I believe. And I resolved Survival Line once because, I almost never drew it. So I don't know. I don't know which one's better to use in a combination with the Drama Trio. Lost World to just fill up their board and just with full of tokens so I can have blanket immunity, or just taking those out and putting in these instead so I can just blow them up and summon dinos. Like, I honestly don't know which one's better. They're both good in my opinion. I guess it depends on if you want a more control-based kind of dino deck, which is what mine is. So I would probably just end up taking this out and throwing in a couple of copies of Wodama Trio, and maybe I want to try and bust up my Lost World count to 3, but that might not happen due to everything else that's in the deck. 3 Solemn Book of Moon. That's just standard as hell. 3 Solemn Strike. Standard. Don't own D-Barrier, so nor do I have the money for it. Solemn Warning. Standard. Imperial Order. Oh my god, it has won me so many games. Against Nekroz, Blue Eyes. Oh. He played trade and discarded, flipped over Imperial Order. I mean, he just couldn't do anything afterwards. I opened up Imperial Order so much in this tournament, and I think it's due to the fact that that's my only Duelist Saga card, and I feel like these Duelist Saga cards are kind of heavy. They seem pretty thick, so that might be why I'm drawing them. And the one Quaking that I never saw, I saw it one time the entire tournament. And a lot of people just would not attack because they're seeing dinos, and they think when I got multiple sets, they think I got Quaking down, and it's just it's amazing the fact that a simple structure deck, a simple archetype, can bring fear to some other cards and just stop people from attacking. It really is. For extra, we got a Castell, a Dweller, a Steel Swarm Roach, which I was very smart for throwing it in against Infernoids. Oh my god, did it put in work. Oh, Roach. I'm not taking it out. It's just like you just got so much space. You have so much space for stuff, so why not? The full Utopia package, including Utopia Prime. Emerald for Cherry's target against Zeus, because you need to stop the reset buttons. You need to stop all that recursion. Because if you don't Cherry's Emerald, they'll just summon it 3, 4, 5 times, and they'll just keep cycling. Versus if you just Cherries it, you're good to go. And also, so I can shuffle in my Bahamut Shark and the 2 Sharks, because a lot of people can enter the Tree Toad and still get the Bahamut Shark off the board. So there's that. 2 Dolka, 2 Logia. I went into Dolka. The times I went into Dolka, I won. But the problem with going into Dolka and Tree Toad and stuff like that is everybody was playing multiple Dark Holes and Raigekis, and that was just a problem. I constantly got greeted by Raigeki Dark Hole, so I'm really debating on putting in either a couple copies of Huge Revolution is Over, just so I can go into Dolka and negate those monster effects. All those monster effects that are just so problematic now, so I can actually, play Dolka and negate more stuff without having to worry about getting, sacked by Raigeki or something like that. I might end up just taking out Quaking, since I never saw it. And maybe Survival Line, because when I did see it, it wasn't really too useful, and just throwing a couple copies of Huge Revolution and see how that works. You got the Bahamut Shark and the Tree Toad, because Bahamut Shark, Tree Toad, water targets, why not? Rescue Rabbit. And the 1 copy of Phantom Fortress, which I made a couple of times, and it actually won me that duel against Paleo Zoo, because he was down to 2 cards in his hand, and he was under the Decree, and I overlaid into that, and I banished his Raigeki from his hand. And, knowing a lot of people seem to save those board wipes, so it was a very lucky hit. If I didn't hit that, I probably would have lost, but I guess I just got lucky. Side deck, I do side the 3 Dogorans, because it's a dinosaur. You can summon it out of the deck with the little baby pterodactyl and keep it on board if you're going first, to make sure your Tree Toad doesn't get kaiju'd over, so you don't get board wiped. The two MSTs for any floodgates that people might cite against me, like aren't like I was assuming Iron Wall is going to get cited against this deck, but I guess a lot of people still know how to side against this deck. Hell, I don't even know how to side against this deck. Two Forbidden Chalice just came in hard against both zoos. Just turn off Drancias, and it came in against barrier statues, so I can turn off Fossil Dyna, so I can actually special summon. It also came in against Eidolons. Stopping the Alistair was like pretty smart, pretty good. Flying Seas, the only deck I sided it against was Paleos, and it works every single time. I will always side my set of cherries, my decrees, and my Flying Seas against Paleos, and I'll always beat them. I'll always shut them down. Cherries for Emerald against Zeus, and Tree Toad against Paleos, and the One Water True King. In case it's for when I know I'm not going first, and I know I need to side some kaijus. I know I need to side some stuff for going second, like strikes, warning, quaking. They're all dead when you're not going first, so I side them all out, and I side some kaijus. I side chalices. I side some cherries if it's the appropriate matchup. And I'll side this Water True King because if I can nuke it from hand, I just summon a True King from the deck for no reason. And so all in all, this was the deck that I took and slapped together and actually won my locals with it and topped the regional. And so I will be looking forward to more duels with this. I will start playing with this on MyGeo Pro a little bit more, so I can do some replays, so I can show you exactly how I play the deck, and maybe you can take your take what you learn from there. Again, I might change it up a little bit more. I want to try and work Ojama Trio with either the trap card or the field spell. It's probably going to be the field spells because, again, this is more control based, and it's so hard for your opponent to deal with your dinos when that thing is on board, or with any of your monsters, as long as tokens are on board. So I think I'm going to lean more towards keeping token presence and having the field spell on board for extra protection. And plus, Ojama Trio just clogs up their field anyway for a full of useless monsters, so that's actually not too bad. So that was a great experience. That was my first top, and I hope you guys learned something from the profile, and I will see you guys next time.